Can't tell if we're active yet or not. What's going on, guys? Welcome back into the channel. Welcome back into Madden 22. And in today's video, we're going to be addressing the question, what would it take to fix the Atlanta Falcons? This is an interesting team to take a look at that has a lot of needs, and most of those needs just simply being personnel related. So we're going to go ahead and dive into this topic today. We're going to do this live stream style. However, those of you that don't want to sit through the entire live stream, I am probably going to cut this up afterwards for you so that it can be done in a shortened format, so that you can watch through that if you want to watch through that. But I was just feeling like doing a bit of a live stream today, so that's what we're going to go ahead and do. And I want to get started here by looking at these college prospects. I want to get started here by looking at the roster of the team and talking a little bit about where this team stands with all factors considered. So we are starting in the current week, and we decided on the Atlanta Falcons primarily because they are one of the lowest rated teams in the league, and they don't have a lot of salary cap space. Now, we do have $34.7 million right now. I think they start with like $15 million whenever you are in the 2021 season. But that is, a little bit of carryover to this season with some players leaving and things like that. So we get an increase in salary cap from players leaving and whatnot. But the Atlanta Falcons here are a 75 overall. They're one of the lowest rated teams in the league right now. And I really feel like one of the most interesting things about this team is the roster that they have currently established. So, excuse me, they need help on the offensive line, I would say, more than just about anything else. They need help on the offensive line. They need a little bit of help in the receiving core. They do have Gage. We don't really know what's going on with Ridley. So, they have a very interesting offensive team right here. Matt Ryan's getting up there in age. Cordarrelle Patterson is 31 years old. He did perform really well for this team, but I don't know that he can be a reliable running back for multiple years into the future. On the defensive side of the ball, they do have quite a bit of talent, in my personal opinion, with A.J. Terrell, who has come onto the scene and played really well. Oluokun Jones at linebacker, Grady Jarrett there on the defensive line. There are still some holes that have to be plugged, but the reason that I wanted to pick this team, besides their salary cap situation, besides their roster situation, is I feel like this would be a very fun team to do a simulation rebuild of, where we just kind of simulate through the seasons, quick simulate through the seasons and whatnot, and see if we can't get this team to a competitive status by building them up over time. And if you guys followed me from the very beginning, or if you've ever gone back and watched some of my very first videos on the channel, some of those videos were actually of a Miami Dolphins type of a rebuild, where we started one with the Miami Dolphins, and it was really interesting. It was one of the first things that I've done on the channel. So I really am just kind of looking forward to maybe doing something simulation related with a rebuild that I think would be interesting. So a shout out to a couple of you guys that are in the chat now, RCNG086 and Jordan Warren. I think that this one's going to be an interesting one. I think that this is going to be a quality rebuild here. It's going to take some effort because of where this roster stands, so we definitely have to keep that in mind. But without further ado, we might as well go ahead and jump into it. We do have a draft class here from Falcons ATL, who I know, or I believe, is the person that comments on a lot of my YouTube videos. Hey, check out my draft class. Hey, check out my draft class. It's one of the better ones out there. This is one of the best draft classes, if not the best updated draft classes that I have seen, and I like it quite a bit. And we may go in a different direction with this than some Atlanta fans may desire. So keep that in mind, that this isn't going to be 100% what everybody's out there talking about with the Atlanta Falcons and stuff like that. This is going to be personal opinion from my perspective on the outside of what the Atlanta Falcons need to do. So from the re-signings perspective, I don't know that we're really going to have a whole lot to do here. We do have Aluakun. I think that they should probably bring him back. Young-Ho Koo should probably bring him back. Cordarrelle Patterson, if they have the opportunity to. Yeah, a lot of these guys should probably come back to the team. So let me go ahead and negotiate with these players and give them what they want. I'm going to go ahead and drag my face up into the top corner so you guys can at least see the negotiations. I'm not really going to mess around too much with these guys because I do want to make sure that they come back. We are pretty bad on salary cap situations. So let me go ahead, before I go through all of these negotiations, let me see who I can actually cut and save cap space on from this team. So money-wise, Grady Jarrett, Dante Fowler is probably going to have to go. He's going to save us a good bit of cap space, and that should probably happen in real life if they are having trouble with their pass rush, as it seems that they are. So he should definitely be on the way out. There are some very interesting contracts. Matt Ryan is making way too much money. I don't know that you can cut him, even if they decide to go in another direction. They have to kind of hang on to him. That looks like that's literally the only one that I would really want to move on from in terms of the comparison between their overall and the actual amount of money that we could save from them. So that's really where we stand with that. We have 29 players to negotiate with. I'm not going to bring back every single player. Let's go ahead and bring back the kicker. Make sure that we have him on a couple-year deal. And then I think Cordarrelle honestly might test the market, but we're just going to go ahead and sign him back now. I don't know that anybody else would. Yeah, so he's going to say, I'd like to play for a new team next year. We'll probably end up getting him back anyway. No need to franchise tag him or anything like that. Russell Gage is an emerging wide receiver that's pretty solid. Another LSU product at wide receiver, probably going to be a very solid receiver for this team in the future, I would think. We got our tight end in Pitts, so I don't think we need to bring back Hayden Hurst. We don't need to bring back Thomas Morstead. We can get any value punter that's out there, and I just really want to scroll through this list a little bit further to see if there's anybody that immediately sticks out to me that we must bring back to the team. A lot of lower overall players, and I apologize for those of you that are Atlanta fans out there. This may be slightly sacrilegious. They did release Dante Fowler. Okay, so we followed that move accurately. This may be slightly sacrilegious to not bring back some of these players, but to be honest with you, I don't care too much about 50s and 60s, and if we are doing this into a series here eventually, we need to have legitimate players on this team. Now, Josh Rosen there is a player that I could see them bringing back and utilizing as a quarterback. I'm not going to do that because I feel like there are other options that are going to be to our benefit. So we're going to go ahead with what we have right now into free agency, where we're not going to have a ton of activity. That's one of the things that is going to be quite important to note for us, is that we don't have a ton of salary cap space. So we're not going to be able to go out here and sign any huge free agents or anything like that. Let me go check. Yeah, Cordarrelle Patterson doesn't have any offers on him right now. I could potentially offer him a contract, but I'm almost thinking about like waiting until week 2 to see if anybody puts in a bid. It would be really nice for the Atlanta Falcons to get a top-notch running back. Like if a Leonard Fournette dropped out here to free agency, that could be an interesting pickup, but I'm not going to do that because there are so many bids on him, and I'm sure there would be in real life. I don't know that they're going to compete and offer a massive contract to any running back, knowing what this salary cap situation looks like and some of the other positions that they need to address. It could be nice to add a wide receiver. I don't feel like I see them offering top dollar to any of those types of players. I do want to check offensive line, though, to see if there isn't anybody that is very worth it to bring in and bolster this offensive line a little bit. Not really. We could bring in an offensive tackle. Again, would eat up too much of our cap space, I would say. So we run a 3-4 with this team, as it's showing. So we need interior defensive linemen, and we need pass rushers on the outside. So I don't see a ton of options that I'm loving out here, to be quite honest with you guys. We may have to go more draft heavy with what we have going on. We also need to address our secondary, if I'm not mistaken. I know that we have AJ Terrell, but I don't know what else we really have going on next to him. So let's go ahead and scroll through our roster one more time here real quick to see what we actually have on the defensive side of the ball. So across the defensive line, Kaminsky, Marlon Davidson. Marlon Davidson should develop into a starting defensive lineman. I actually thought that he was way higher ceiling than Madden kind of leads us to believe. I thought that he was going to be a very good defensive lineman coming out of college. We have Grady Jarrettson. Yeah, we don't really have much at D tackle, so that's an area where we might be able to fill out with veterans. And neither of these guys have any type of finesse or power moves here for these middle linebackers. So we do truly have two middle linebacker type of guys there. So we are very, very much struggling on the edge here with outside linebacker. At cornerback, like I said, we do have AJ Terrell. We didn't bring back the other players, so we do need to add a cornerback. That's going to be one of our top needs, and we do need safety as well. So I would say that these are positions on the defensive side of the ball that we can definitely plug through free agency other than maybe the pass rushers. So that's where things get interesting. So let's take a look at safeties. Jabril Peppers is out here. Jordan Whitehead is out here. Some very interesting options. I actually like the option of Jabril Peppers, and I know I just signed him in the Pittsburgh Steelers version of this video that I just did. But this could be a multitude of other players that are available, but I like the idea of paying a little bit of money to go out and get a good player on the back end of your secondary that is very flexible, that can do a lot of things for your team. So we're going to go ahead and acquire Jabril Peppers. It could also be maybe Marcus Williams, Justin Reed. There's actually quite a few players out here, more players than I expected. So let me compare the numbers here on what they're asking for. Yeah, so Justin Reed's asking for less. So we're not going to pay the top strong safety $7 million a year. In fact, we're going to come back over here and we're going to go after Justin Reed, who I feel like is an even better player, even younger, and we'll offer him a good bit of money, but still less money than we were offering Jabril Peppers to bring him in at safety. So we're finding a pretty solid value find at safety here. And then at cornerback, I would like to get somebody that is serviceable opposite of AJ Terrell. We need to continue to bolster up this secondary. I don't know that I'm going to go there in the draft. There are some really interesting players that I think would be worth it in the draft, but I don't think there's too many. That we're going to like in the early rounds, or that we're going to be targeting in the early rounds. So let's go ahead, and we could do a Desmond King, a Jason Verrett, a Carlton Davis. Nobody has put in a bid on Dante Jackson. $9 million. That might be a little bit too rich for my blood, considering how much these guys are actually going to impact the team and how much cap space we actually have. But, if you want a good corner, you have to shell out the money for a good corner. Mike Hughes is an interesting one. A little bit more of a value find right there. I'm going to say we have a little bit of money. Let's utilize that money on the cornerback position. Because there aren't that many pass rushers that would fill our need right here. So let's go ahead and use some of this money on the cornerback position. Let's go ahead and kind of bolster up the secondary with two solid players. We'll get very good athletes in Dante Jackson and Justin Reed out there, and I think that will help get the pass rush going for us. Then we have to take a look at these outside linebackers and these defensive ends. I don't really know that there's anybody out here that fits the description of a solid pass rusher in a 3-4 scheme. I mean, 3-4 outside linebackers are hard to come by. We could always take a D end and move them. But a lot of these guys, like Emmanuel Ogbah, for example, is more of a defensive lineman, more of a 4-3 D end. Not really going to drop back into coverage for you. Melvin Ingram did nothing this year. I would think about bringing him in, or maybe a D Ford. I would really like to bring in somebody that actually has produced recently, and I just don't feel like I'm seeing that in these players that are here. So maybe the Falcons do need to go pass rusher with their top pick if there's somebody there. I don't love that, though. I really don't love that. You guys, I know that there's a couple of you guys that are Falcons fans in the chat. Let me know what you guys are thinking. Very limited on funds, and I see them bringing in some older second-tier veterans on one-year deals and just build through the draft. Yeah, I see that. I'm only adding a couple of these secondary players strictly for the fact that this is going to be a franchise series. Let me go ahead, though. We're going to sign outside linebackers with a little bit of pass rush power. So we could go with like a JPP who has experience. I like the idea, though. Where was he at? Maybe he was a defensive end. Maybe I don't want to sign him. Anthony Barr. I don't think Anthony Barr has pass rush, does he? No, he does not. He's more of a middle linebacker type. Chenna Nwosu's out here. We're going to go ahead with JPP. We'll sign him on a veteran one-year deal. And I think we should sign probably at least one other. I mean, Justin Houston. This could be any other veteran outside linebacker type of a player. I know that there are a few out here that, and to be honest with you, Justin Houston has had success in recent years. So I can't say that that's going to be a negative there. Why don't we go ahead and bring in at least one interior defensive lineman to help out with things, maybe a veteran. Here's what I'll do. I'll wait till week 2 on that because I feel like that's going to be the primary the primary position we're then looking for that's probably going to slip through. So let's go ahead and see if we get either of those major negotiations, and then beyond that, we'll see what's available here for us in week 2. All right, so we did get all of our players, all 4 of them. So let's go ahead back to free agency here and just make sure that there isn't anything that can help us out. So like I said, I would like a veteran defensive lineman, more of an interior guy. So we're looking for somebody closer to that 300-pound range. And none of these guys there were striking the bill. Linval Joseph could be interesting. We could use a true veteran D tackle, and on a one-year deal. Oh, that's pretty expensive. Maybe he'll slip through for cheaper. You should really be able to put in offers for less than that at this point. Calais Campbell probably going to request a lot of money, $10 million. That would eat up all the salary cap space. Sheldon Richardson, yeah, that'll do. That's kind of comparative, and he can move over to D-tackle. He has played D-tackle before. I think that would work. And let's go ahead and find one more veteran interior defensive lineman type. Adam Butler, Tyler Lancaster. There really wasn't a lot here, was there? And D tackles are demanding way too much money right now. Jonathan Hankins, there we go. So we'll get 2 veteran interior defensive linemen. That will, on one-year deals, that will eat up all of the remainder of our cap space, as I expected it to. I don't know if we just cut out there in the stream or what happened. It looked like there was a disconnect. I got some type of a notification down there in the bottom corner. I'm kind of relatively new to streaming here with OBS, but nonetheless, we should be able to get to the draft here. Let's go ahead and start the draft. Real quick, take a look at our roster so that we can, move players to where they need to be. So a quarterback, Matt Ryan, Felipe Franks, Mike Davis at running back right now, Keith Smith at fullback. We don't save any money by cutting him, do we? I mean, not really. We're going to need a receiver. We're going to need to help shore up that receiver position. We're going to need a veteran tight end whenever we get through. So I'm probably going to need to do some cap management here because there will be players that I can cut that are going to save us some money. Defensive line wise, Sheldon Richardson's going to move over to D tackle for us. That's going to help us out on our one-year frame here. And he should go up in overall moving to defensive tackle. He does. He's a 79. Jonathan Hankins here. One of these guys is going to play left end. I'm not going to worry about it too much. I mean, John Kaminsky and Marlon Davidson might just play left end Might have been a slight mistake bringing in both of those guys, but that's all right. They're both on veteran one-year deals, which isn't going to hurt us too much. In the secondary, we now have a legitimate secondary duo with A.J. Terrell and Dante Jackson. We now have at least one legitimate safety in Justin Reed, and Richie Grant is probably going to play that other position. Richie Grant, with that slower speed, I'd have to see what his tackling and hit power is. Yeah, good tackler, good hitter. I don't know if that's reflective of real life or not, but he would be naturally our strong safety. Which you Atlanta fans can tell me down in the comment section if that would be more accurate to what he should be playing. But I like this from a Madden standpoint a little bit better. Richie Grant at strong safety, Justin Reed at free safety. And then we did bring our kicker back, and we have Dom DiMaggio at punter. All right, so let's go ahead and start this draft. We are in a very interesting position here with the Atlanta Falcons because of where their draft positioning is. So we're going to go pick by pick to see who everybody selects. The Jaguars take Evan Neal, no surprise there. Solid pick. Aiden Hutchinson to the Lions, solid pick. Kayvon Thibodeau. This is going pretty much as expected. Ekwonu goes to the Jets. Kyle Hamilton, safety, goes to the Giants. Hard to pass him up whenever he's one of the better players in the draft. Charles Cross goes to the Panthers. And then Derek Stingley goes to the Giants with pick 7. So we'll go ahead and pause the draft here real quick and make our selection. So the interesting thing here is I feel like there are a couple of positions that are being talked about and a couple of positions that aren't being talked about for the Falcons. I feel like honestly, they could go any direction with this pick, and they'd probably be fine. Let me go ahead and read your comments real quick. Ahmad Gardner has to be the pick. I don't necessarily agree. There are so many needs for this team, to be honest with you. And I guess if the theory is you're going to aim for another bad season and you're going to draft a quarterback next year, then you pick something else. But part of me really strongly feels like the Atlanta Falcons should be picking a quarterback with this pick. That or they should be trading back for value. Because Sam Howell, Kenny Pickett, Malik Willis, any one of those guys you could probably draft, and they will sit behind Matt Ryan for a year and take over next year. And I like that more from the outside looking in for the Atlanta Falcons. I truly believe, as a non-Atlanta Falcons fan, that they need to go quarterback this year. But again, yeah, they're probably going to be in a rough position next year. So I think that we're going to pass up on quarterback for now. I think that in reality they probably should take a quarterback, but I don't think we're going to take a quarterback here. I like Ahmad Gardner. George Karlaftis is not so much an edge rusher. He's a decent player. Let me see what it actually shows his skill set as. It doesn't actually tell us whether he's a finesse rusher or a power rusher. Yeah, I think Sauce Gardner has to be the pick. I think that he's actually the best player available here. I do agree with you after looking at it. So we're going to go ahead and go with Sauce Gardner at pick 8, which I think is a really solid value pick, to be honest with you, because he might be better than Stingley, all things considered, with how well he played. I think that would be a solid pickup, and that really helps the defensive side of the ball, which is going to help a young team grow. Now I'm just going to go ahead and sim to next user pick, because at this point we're going to have pick 8 in the second round. And we could go with a couple of different positions here, but I'm curious to see what's left on the board. So Desmond Ritter's here, which is an interesting option. We could go offensive line, which I would like. We could go wide receiver to try to bolster our wide receiver room. Drake Jackson is here. But does he actually have any pass rushing ability? I don't know much about Drake Jackson, and we don't have anything unlocked for him. I'd say pass rusher probably going to be... pass rusher is probably going to be it. I don't know. Let me go ahead and look. Or do we just go with Ritter? Do we just bite the bullet and get Desmond Ritter now? I think we go with the offensive line and gear up for the future. Trevor Penning. I really just don't love any of the other available options right here. George Pickens, potentially a very solid player, solid 40-yard dash, not that great. Let's go ahead. Let's go with the offensive line. When in doubt, pick an offensive lineman and they won't let you down. So we're going to pick Trevor Penning just because he's best available. It could be a handful of other players, and we do get the hidden dev offensive lineman. I think that's a solid pick with a couple of the veteran linemen on this team really starting to get up there in age, and some of the other linemen on this team not necessarily developing as well as you might like them to. So we'll go ahead, we'll sim to, this is round 2, pick 26. I should move my camera over here so you guys don't have everything covered up for you. Make this selection here and see what's available. And the wide receivers have pretty much fallen to this point. I would say wide receiver is the pick here, if not running back. I'm going to compare these. I'm just going to compare the top wide receivers right now. He's 22 years old, runs a 4.42, 4.43, 6'1". 20 years old, 4.5. Definitely not going with a 4.5 40. Staying well away from that. 21 years old, 4.4. Ooh, Wan'Dale Robinson looks like a baller. 5'11", 21 years old. Very good physical attributes. We're going to go ahead and we're going to try to help round out our receiving core and give ourselves some insurance options here with Wan'Dale Robinson in the 3rd round. And he has hidden as well. Or sorry, not 3rd round. That's end of 2nd round. So 2 2nd-round picks there. We hit on both of them. And moving on to the 3rd round now. Early 3rd round, not much has happened. Not a big difference between those picks. John Mechie is now here. They definitely wouldn't go 2 wide receivers back to back, but I think John Mechie is going to be a very solid wide receiver. Interesting that he fell to here. This could be the pick where we go edge, or this could be the pick where we go running back. We could also go tight end. I don't think they go tight end this early unless there's somebody here that they really like that would play alongside Pitts. They wouldn't invest that early pick in Pitts if they were going to split his reps that much either. The running back room here is going to be weak, so I say we just sign a veteran running back once we get out of the draft. Actually, okay. So, as a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, as somebody that has everybody in the world talking about who we're going to pick at quarterback or who we're going to go with at quarterback, Bailey Zappi, I don't know how you say his name. This guy, I think, has a lot of potential at quarterback. And I am going to use a draft pick on him right now because he threw, 60-something touchdowns in college. Yes, it wasn't against great competition, but so have many great NFL quarterbacks played against similar bad competition. Your ability to throw the football is not directly linked with who you play against, and that's why I think it's a farce that the Alabama quarterback won the Heisman Trophy. That's just a personal thing. That's a tangent. We'll get into that another day. But we're going, this is going to be a bit of a reach, but I'm going with Bailey Zapp here in the 3rd round. And he actually has hidden. I can't believe this draft class gave him hidden. I like it. I like it a lot. His throw power isn't great, but it at least gives us an option at quarterback to compete and help develop behind the all-time great Matt Ryan. And I'm assuming we have another 3rd round pick. No, we do not. So we now are on to the 4th round, and this is where we almost certainly have to draft some type of edge player just to get some depth. But man, there's a lot of receivers. There's a lot of receivers here. A lot of receivers that have fallen to this point. Does this guy... I don't think we're going to have any potential to see if these guys actually have finesse or power moves or anything of that nature, unfortunately, because of the new Madden, because of the new system. We have literally no way to tell if any of these guys have any value whatsoever at outside linebacker. D'Angelo Malone looks decent. Cornerback... We already went corner. Doesn't make sense. We could draft another safety. Actually, I can't believe this guy's here. Isaiah Polamau. I think he's going to be a fantastic safety. 6'4", 205 pounds. He has a Polamalu-esque name. What more could you want? What more could you want in a safety? I'm hoping that he'll just fall to our next pick. I'm not going to pick him here because I think that might be a reach. But I really think that guy could be good. Tyreek Smith, that's a edge rusher. But I think he was lowered down on the list. So 4.72, 4.69, 40. He's great or good in most categories here. He does fit that bill of a bit of an edge rusher type of a player. And I know because he's a defensive end that we will get the edge rusher skill set. Whereas if we go with outside linebacker, I have no idea if either of these guys is actually going to give us a edge skill set. It does say, I should say, I'm looking at the traits. Uses spin move, all that stuff. He's 23 years old, though. This is a third-round pick. In these rounds, you want the younger player so that they at least have a chance to develop. Let's go ahead with Tyreek Smith here. Tyreek Smith out of Ohio State. He'll move to outside linebacker for us. 81 speed. Not a great pick, but we've already hit on so many picks so far. I can't be upset about that. We'll advance to the next user pick now. And see what's available for us here. We took wide receiver. We took corner. We took quarterback as well. We took offensive line. We took edge rusher. This other outside linebackers here that we were considering drafting anyway, why not? No idea if he'll be good or not. Doesn't have hidden. D power move. Hopefully at least has something in the finesse move category. If not, he'll just be a middle linebacker for us. That's fine. Not going to always hit on players at this end of the draft. Yes, I think this is your draft class. Yeah, this is your draft class, Falcons ATL. I finally used it for you. Yeah, and Nick Hummel says Palomau free safety also with the USC. Is he a Polamalu clone? Yes, I'm pretty sure he's a Polamalu clone. It's kind of hilarious. All right, that's where we're at. This is your draft class, by the way. Smoke Monday. How could we not draft that guy? What a name. We would need like interior defensive linemen. I don't know that there's any of that's going to be left. Doubtful there's offensive lineman, tight end maybe. We do 6'8", 255. I don't care what that guy's stats are. I think we're drafting that tight end unless this guy has good speed, 6'5" at receiver. No, but we might come back and get him if he's available later on. Quarterback. We already took quarterback. Let's go with this tight end. Hey, 6'8", 255 pounds. Hopefully he's not totally too slow. He's going to have like 79 or 78 speed. Yep, 78 speed. But hey, 6'8" target. Those guys come down with the ball a lot in Madden. So I don't know that he'll ever do anything for us in this franchise, but I'd say worth the pick. Early 7th round. And let's see what's left available. I highly doubt that receiver fell. But that guy was 6'5". I did kind of want him. Maybe he got taken. Some of these guys are pretty solid, like Javon Hiley. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I need a punter. I have no idea if any of these punters are good or not. Is it worth it to take a punter? Definitely not, right? Definitely not worth a punter, right? Or is it? I have no idea. I really don't. I don't know anything about those guys. there a running back left that's decent? No, there's nothing. There's literally nothing left. Wide receivers are all at the top. I mean, the punter is the next guy. Let's do it. Why not? Hidden. We got the hidden dev punter. Let's go. 94 kick power, hidden dev punter. Let's freaking go, guys. We just hit on so many draft picks in this draft, and I don't even have that much knowledge of this draft class. I only know whatever I saw out of that Steelers draft class when we selected totally different players. Shout out to Falcons fan 71 for the draft class. Ariza is the best punting prospect ever. Do it. we hit on the pick. I love it. All right. So this is where we are at coming into the season. I'm going to need to do, I don't know if we're going to be able to save enough money to fix this roster the way I need to. Let's go ahead, draft recap. We haven't actually seen the player overalls yet. So, not the greatest in terms of player overalls coming out of this draft, but I'll take a 75 overall hidden dev corner to start. A 68 overall hidden dev tackle that could play pretty much anywhere on the offensive line for us based on his athleticism. A 69 overall hidden dev wide receiver. A hidden dev quarterback that's a 64. We'll have to build him up, which is kind of what I wanted to do anyway with a quarterback behind Matt Ryan. And then depth pieces. Actually, holy crap, this is pretty good for an end of draft. Fourth rounder, 66 overall defensive end that's going to play on the edge for us. D'Angelo Malone, 66 overall. What I am curious about is, did this guy have any amount of... Yeah, he does. He's a speed rusher. So 83 speed, 86 acceleration. Finesse move isn't great, but I'll go ahead and take that. And then, sorry, I backed out there. And then the guys at the end of the draft class there were decent enough. Our punter, 72 overall, hidden dev punter. Heck yeah, I'll take that all day long. And then our tight end, only a 61 overall, but 6'8". Probably going to be a practice squad type of a player. Let's go ahead and excuse me. I need to get like a push to talk thing so that I can mute myself. Let's go ahead, advance to the next week so that we can potentially fill out a roster. I obviously don't have any cap space right now, so I need to find a way to get a little bit of cap space to round things out, because as we speak, we are pretty bad on cap space. Do we just cut Matt Ryan? I don't think we do, right? Like you guys that are Atlanta fans in the chat, ratings based off of real man ratings, depending on the rounds they go in. Yeah. Yeah, still the draft that punter. I honestly feel like we should cut Matt Ryan just based on Madden, but I mean, what, does he actually save us money if we cut him? Because it's a $42 million penalty. I don't know. Can't cut Jones. Is Ridley playing football? Does anybody know if Ridley's playing football? Let me look this up. From NFL indefinitely. Yet to return to the Falcons. I have no idea. Trade Grady. Trade Dion. Develop Michael Walker. Yeah, I don't think the penalty's worth it for Matt Ryan, but I do think we need to make a trade. I would say probably Grady Jarrett, because he's 29, would gain us the most room to work with. Let me just check over and make sure there's nobody else that makes sense to get rid of. Tyler Davidson. Ridley to the Chiefs. Trade Ridley. Okay. Oh, let's do it. Should have traded him for a draft pick. Oh, let's go for it. Rumors Ridley to the Chiefs. for next year for draft pick. Late first, early second. I mean, we know that they're going to have a late first round pick. I'd say a late first round pick. That's going to put them over the salary cap. Of course, every team's going to now be over the salary cap because Madden is Madden. So, this is where things get great. This is where I have to go in and mess with stuff just to get the game to work right. So now I have to go figure out, really do the Eagles or Pats? Now I need to go figure out. Patriots makes a lot of sense. Let me go figure out what the heck the Patriots did to just destroy themselves on salary cap here. Jackson's making $20 million a year, so you franchise tagged him. Okay, let's just fix that for them. I know he's going to make money, but just for purposes of this video, we're going to make it like a legit contract. We'll give him like 15 mil a year or something like that. That puts us at what, 11? Okay. A lot of guaranteed money there. Whatever. This is the stuff that I go through every time I make one of these videos. Yeah, we'll just go with that. I'm not spending too much time on it. There we go. Okay, let's trade Ridley. We'll trade Ridley over to the Pats. What would the Pats give up? That's the real question, I feel like. What would they actually give up for Ridley? Would they give up a first? What did they give up whenever they have acquired similar players in the past? I mean, they think they're going to be all in. And honestly, that would probably put them over the edge. Late first round pick, not going to get it done. All right, we'll just go with a second. Give us a second. Give us your extra fourth. That's fine. Not going to go too crazy on it, trying to get the most value out of it right now. That should at least put us positive in salary. And then we have to get rid of Grady Jarrett, who we can trade to the AFC. I don't know where he would go, but we'll go ahead and send Grady Jarrett probably to... He's not a... Let's go ahead and send Grady Jarrett to the Texans. I think they were one of the only teams here that had... No, they don't have cap. Oh, that puts them only negative 3.95. So, excuse me. I need to get back any player that has more than 3.95 in cap. So we go from the bottom up and get the worst player possible with a good cap hit. 3.5 for KPL. 2.5. Marcus Cannon. Marcus Cannon. Oh, we have a ton of cap room now. We don't need to trade Grady Jarrett. Do we make the move? I think we make the move. What is Cooks' contract? 13 mil. Because I know he's on the block right now. Nah, we'll go with Marcus Cannon. Marcus Cannon and a draft pick. This is probably going to be like a second or a third. I doubt it would be an early second. Oh, we're close. We're just going to do this for the sake of balancing out for the limited value that we actually got back for Calvin Ridley. We'll give you a next year's fifth. Boom. All right, now we have cap space to work with. So, let's go ahead and actually round out this roster. Cordarrelle, you can come back on a one-year contract. I have no issue with that. We actually do need a running back. quarterback-wise, where is... Oh, he's not there anymore. I was fully expecting to see Rosen back out here. Unfortunately, he's not. Devontae Freeman back as an Atlanta Falcon. I don't mind that idea. Not realistic. Matt Breida finds another home here. Temporary home. Let me go ahead and check to make sure what our actual rest of our needs are here on the roster. All right, so Ryan and Zapp, we're good at halfback now. Yeah, we're going to need at least one. Give me one receiver, two receivers. I'm going to, basically, whatever we have left is going to receivers, it looks like. And maybe one backup offensive lineman. Probably not. Okay, yeah, we do have to do a little bit of movement here on our team. But let's go ahead and bring in a couple of receivers to help out. Antonio Brown's an interesting option. 7 million is probably too much. Yeah, that would limit our ability to bring in two. So we're looking at these guys down underneath of that. Sammy Watkins still has some life in him. Dante Pettis is interesting. Conley is interesting. David Moore. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. We're going to sign T.Y. Hilton, veteran 1-year contract. And we are going to sign Sammy Watkins to a veteran 1-year contract. Come back to tight end. We're going to leave that as is. We're going to see if there's anybody else worth anything out here. Brandon Williams. Bring back Deron Harmon on a 1-year contract, maybe. To avoid just taking up too much time, let's go ahead and just get a veteran safety. Trey Boston's too slow. Rudy Ford's fine. Not the end of the world. So that's the roster that we're going to go with as we simulate forward. See what our rookie mentorship program is going to give us. Austin Allen. Let's go with long-term development. Hall of Fame, weekly strategy. I don't care what our weekly strategy is. I just want to make sure that we are... See, yeah, I don't know that it's the best idea to focus train our punter. But that's an option, I guess. So focus train the cornerback, the receiver, and the quarterback. So we'll go with that. I feel like those three have the potential to actually have an impact for us in the foreseeable future. So let's go ahead and advance to... I guess I got to kind of slowly go through this, huh? Because I want to make sure that we actually hit the mentorship thing. What? What? I've never just been given a free dev before. Have you guys been given a free dev just because a guy's got the mentorship thing? Our 6'8", 255-pound tight end that we didn't expect to be anything now has hidden dev, or has star dev. I'll take it. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying that I've never actually gotten that benefit before, and that's crazy. That's awesome. I'll take that any day of the week. Giving me hidden dev on a 61 overall tight end, that's interesting. Robinson getting something here. Upgrade players, we'll worry about that whenever we actually hit the regular season here. And yeah, I got to put players on the practice squad. So let me go ahead and finish out this roster management section here, make sure that we have everything the way that we need it. I'm going to go ahead and put myself back down in the bottom corner. So we have 2 punters. We don't need Dom DiMaggio anymore, and we'll just release him with... Oh, why'd I hit edit? Because I blocked my own view. I keep doing this. I should be good in the bottom right now. Okay. Release. We don't need you on the practice squad. That's 1. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So these are obvious. This guy's bad. That's 2 cuts. Lafayette Pitts somehow is now only a 58. That's kind of sad to see. That's 3 cuts. And move him to practice squad. Is Judge Polite actually on this team? I don't actually want him on my practice squad. 4 cuts. 5. Actually 6, because I did put the 1 guy on the practice squad. 7. We've been live for 52 minutes. So the question is, for me, when do I stop? do I get this team right and simulate a season here to see what they do? I think we do that in video number 2. I know that I've live streamed this for about an hour, so I can probably cut that up into a nice little concise video. Yeah, so let me go ahead and get this all set up into regular season week 1. And then I think we'll kind of end it there. Zap already getting an upgrade. What time is it? Okay. Time check. Advance to week 1. We have the Saints. Now, let's set our expectations for this season for this team. I'm simulating. I'm quick simulating. I'm not actually going to show any games this season through. Honestly, with our team the way it is, probably going to have a top 10 pick again. So definitely need to keep that in mind. That's kind of what the expectation is going to be for this season. Hopefully you guys are looking forward to maybe seeing another part in this, because I'm actually kind of interested to see if we can build this team up to a contender again. Hopefully you guys do have some interest in that. Make sure you guys leave a like on the video, comment, and subscribe. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next one, and I hope you guys have a good one.